Today, we delve into the untold tales of wrestlers whose stories were buried beneath the glitz and glamour. Despite the bright lights of WWE, why were these tragedies brushed aside? What secrets lie within the rings of silence? Let's embark on this gripping exploration together. Chris Benoit. Remember Chris Benoit? He was a big name in the wrestling world. So, after his death in 2007, WWE decided to pay tribute to him. They aired a special show on Monday Night Raw, honoring his legacy. It was a touching moment, with tribute videos that celebrated his career. But here's the thing, it's not the whole story. See, at first, nobody knew the full picture. Chris Benoit, his wife, and his son were all found dead. It was shocking and sad. The WWE didn't know what had happened exactly. Then, the truth came out. It was something no one expected. Chris Benoit had actually taken the lives of his wife and son before taking his own. It was a tragedy that shook the wrestling world to its core. The tribute show suddenly took on a different meaning. It went from honoring a wrestling legend to grappling with the shocking reality of what had happened. Superstars like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Stephanie McMahon shared their emotions. Vince McMahon, the head honcho of WWE, stood alone in the ring, visibly upset. After that, things changed. Vince McMahon appeared on TV to talk about the incident, but that was it. WWE decided to pull the tribute show from airing again. Instead, they replaced it with a best-of episode on the WWE Network. Nancy Benoit. Nancy Benoit wasn't just any ordinary figure in wrestling. She was known for her roles in both WCW and ECW under the names Woman and Fallen Angel. Her journey in the wrestling world began when she was married to Kevin Sullivan. Initially, she appeared on WCW TV as a fan of Rick Steiner, but later switched sides to align with Sullivan and eventually joined forces with Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. In ECW, she managed Sandman before returning to WCW. However, it was her relationship with Chris Benoit that brought her into the spotlight. On and off screen, Nancy and Chris shared a bond, both professionally and personally. Now, while Nancy wasn't a major star in the WWE universe, her life and tragic death can't be overlooked. When Chris Benoit committed the horrific act of murdering Nancy and their son before taking his own life, it shook the wrestling world to its core. Yet, despite her contributions and the tragic circumstances of her death, the WWE has largely erased her from their history, save for mentions during the original tribute show. Well, turns out, he wasn't exactly the head honcho behind the scenes. Jack Tunney, a Canadian wrestling promoter, played the role of the company's president on screen. You'd often see him in his office, making announcements about new titles or big championship matches. But behind the scenes, Vince McMahon was the real deal, calling the shots as the big boss. Sadly, Jack Tunney passed away in 2004 due to heart disease. Surprisingly, the WWE didn't acknowledge his passing on their shows. It's been said that he fell out of favor with the WWE because of his drinking and gambling issues, which eventually led to his departure from the company in 1995, mentioned by wrestlers like JBL and CM Punk. But his legacy remains a bit of a mystery, with his time as the WWE president. Chris Kanyon. Chris Kanyon started his wrestling career in WCW, where he was considered to be a mediocre wrestler. However, when the WWE bought WCW, they also acquired his contract. In the WWE, Kanyon had some moderate success. He managed to win the WCW United States Championship and even snagged the WWE Tag Team Championship alongside DDP, although their reign lasted only a brief 12 days. But Kanyon's story goes beyond just wrestling titles. He was also notable for being one of the few openly gay wrestlers, although he only came out following his departure from WWE. His time after leaving the company wasn't smooth sailing, though. Kanyon filed a lawsuit against WWE, alleging that they denied him healthcare benefits after he suffered a leg injury that ultimately affected his career. In the midst of all this, Kanyon made headlines by suggesting that WWE released him because of his sexual orientation, but later admitted that it was all part of a publicity stunt. Despite these challenges, Kanyon continued to battle with depression and bipolar disorder throughout his life. Tragically, Kanyon's struggles came to a devastating end in 2010 when he took his own life. Ludwig Borga. Ludwig Borga's time in the WWE might have been short, but boy, did he leave an impression. One of his biggest moments was ending Tatanka's undefeated streak back in the early 90s. Talk about making a splash. He also scored a significant win over Marty Jannetty at SummerSlam, showing the world what he was made of. But unfortunately, his wrestling journey took a sudden turn when he suffered an ankle injury in a match against Rick Steiner in 1994. Ouch. Now, what happened after his wrestling days? Well, Borga didn't exactly fade into the background. He dabbled in a bit of UFC fighting, giving it a shot in the ring, but his adventures didn't stop there. In 2007, he took on a whole new role, entering Finland's parliament. Quite the change of pace, huh? But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Borga made headlines for calling the country's president a lesbian. Yikes. And then, there's the sad part of the story. Despite his moments of glory, Borga's life took a downward spiral. He struggled with alcohol-related issues for years, landing himself in trouble more than once. Things got so rough that he even spent time in psychiatric care. And tragically, in 2010, Borga took his own life. It's a heartbreaking end to a complicated story. Now, the WWE hasn't said much about Borga's passing. But wrestling legend Jim Ross didn't hold back when he shared his thoughts, describing Borga as somewhat obnoxious and even a bit of a bully at times. Chris Candido. Chris Candido, you might remember him from his time in the WWE as one half of the Body Donnas tag team back in the 1990s. Alongside his real-life girlfriend Tammy Lynn Switech, known as Sunny, they were quite the duo. They even snagged a tag team championship. After his WWE stint, Candido ventured into ECW and WCW before joining TNA. But tragedy struck when Candido suffered a leg injury during a TNA match. Despite undergoing surgery, he fell ill months later due to blood clots and sadly passed away. While his brother Johnny produced a documentary about him, the WWE hasn't focused much on his memory. However, TNA honored him with the Chris Candido Memorial Tag Team Tournament in 2005. Dino Bravo. Dino Bravo, a big name in the wrestling world with a shocking end to his story. Bravo, a former WWE World Tag Team Champion, faced an unexpected fate. In 1991, he was released from WWE, and 2 years later, he met a tragic end. While watching a hockey game, Bravo was shot a shocking 17 times. The reason behind his murder? It's believed to be connected to his involvement in smuggling illegal cigarettes in Canada, linked to organized crime. The mafia's involvement in his death remains unsolved, leaving a cloud of mystery over the incident. Despite this shocking end, Bravo's legacy lives on through the memories shared by fellow wrestlers like Bret Hart and Rick Martel. Crash Holly. Michael Lockwood, better known to WWE fans as Crash Holly. Now, Crash wasn't your typical heavyweight wrestler. Despite carrying a scale to the ring, trying to prove his 400-pound status, he was actually 5'11" and weighed 212 pounds. But don't let his size fool you. Crash made a name for himself by winning the WWE Hardcore Championship a staggering 22 times. That's right, he may not have been a heavyweight, but he sure knew how to dominate the hardcore scene. Most of his title reigns were short-lived due to the 24/7 rule, but his impact was undeniable. Unfortunately, Crash's career was cut short when he was released from WWE and later passed away in 2003 from an overdose. It's a tragic end to a promising career. The WWE didn't openly acknowledge his death at the time, but he was remembered in a video tribute during ECW One Night Stand in 2005. Viscera. Starting out as Mabel in the early 90s, he later became known as Viscera, part of The Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness, and eventually wrestled as Big Daddy V. He was a force to be reckoned with in the ring, often dominating the competition in the Royal Rumble matches. Sadly, Viscera passed away in February 2014 from a heart attack. His death was attributed to a combination of morbid obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart damage. His widow, Cassandra Frazier, even filed a lawsuit against WWE, claiming they were partially responsible for his death. Despite his contributions to the wrestling world, WWE's acknowledgment of his passing was minimal. They didn't mention it on Raw, only giving him a short video tribute the following week.
Lancade.
He was climbing the ladder of success in the WWE, winning the Tag Team Championship 3 times with Trevor Murdoch. Not only that, but he was also making waves in his singles career. However, in 2008, the WWE made what many consider a big mistake by releasing him. It was revealed that Cade had a seizure on a plane due to prescription pill abuse, leading to his sudden departure from the company. Sadly, less than 2 years later, he passed away from a drug overdose at the age of just 29. Despite his once promising career and the impact he had on those around him, there was little acknowledgement from the WWE about his passing. Wrestlers like Murdoch and Shawn Michaels, who mentored Cade, spoke out about his death, but the company remained silent. Doink the Clown. Doink was a memorable character, known for his mischievous antics in the ring. However, Osborne's battle with drug addiction led to his firing from the WWE in 1993. The Doink character lived on with a new actor, Ray Apollo, but Osborne's struggles continued. In 2013, he was found dead due to a drug overdose. Following Osborne's death, his family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the WWE in 2015, alleging that the company's promotion of violence contributed to his passing. They also claimed that the WWE failed to educate Osborne about the risks of repeated head injuries. This lawsuit was part of a larger legal battle against the WWE concerning head injuries, led by Cairo's Law.
Umaga.
Umaga, whose real name is Edward Fatu, came from the legendary Anoa'i I wrestling family. He burst onto the WWE scene as Jamal, part of Eric Bischoff's 3-minute warning. Their job? To put an end to matches Bischoff thought were dragging on. But it was his second run with WWE, as Umaga, that really made waves. This time, he climbed to main event status and even grabbed some big wins, like defeating Ric Flair and clinching the Intercontinental Championship twice. But like many others in the wrestling world, Umaga faced struggles. He was let go from WWE after failing drug tests. Sadly, the troubles didn't end there. In 2009, just a few months after his release, Umaga tragically passed away. It was a devastating blow to the wrestling community. The cause? A lethal mix of painkillers, muscle relaxers, and anti-anxiety medication. WWE issued a statement expressing condolences to Umaga's family and friends, but they also made it clear they weren't responsible for his struggles. It was a sad end for a wrestler who had once captured the imagination of fans worldwide. That was quite an eye-opening journey through the world of wrestling. It's sad to see how some wrestlers faced challenges that were ignored. Remember, behind every match and every wrestler, there's a story. By subscribing to our channel, you're not just supporting us, you're joining a community that cares about these stories. So, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Together, let's keep these stories alive and honor the memory of those who left us too soon. Thank you for watching.